Welcome back to the Mark Mosey Show, only right here on the brand new Sports Radio 1560 The Fan. And joining me right now here on the Club 52 Online Talk, all things NBA. Good friend of mine here in the listening area. His name is Chris Pirtle. The Ultimate NBA Insider is his blog. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Mark. Doing great. Good to be with you.
Well, your Warriors, by the way, are 22-0. You thought they'd lose about 10 games ago. What's going on here with the Warriors? Because you look at LeBron, his team is number one in the East. They're 13-7. The Warriors are 22-0. Are they going to win 80 games this year? Forget 70. What is going on exactly?
Oh, it seems like it at this point. You know, even me, their biggest fan, I think, has underestimated this team. So yeah, like you said, 11 games ago when they were 11-0, I remember telling you that I thought the Toronto Raptors were going to beat them that night. And I was saying that they can't continue to win all these games. Well, here we are 11 games later, and they're 22-0. So, unbelievable.
What has been the key to this? Because they don't even have a head basketball coach. I mean, what is going on here exactly?
Well, I think it definitely helps when you've got the reigning MVP putting together quarters where he could go off for 25 points in any given quarter, and you don't know which quarter he's going to decide to do that in. You couple that along with the development of Draymond Green, who, you know, let's be honest, the Warriors didn't start winning these big-time championships and divisions the past several years until Draymond Green was inserted into the starting lineup. So you take a look at that 1-2 punch between Steph Curry and Draymond Green, and, oh, yeah, you got a guy named Klay Thompson who could potentially give you 20 points in a given quarter, and it's explosive. It's very impressive. These guys are still young, Mark, and they're still getting better, so they may not have hit their ceiling yet. I think that's the scary thing.
Well, you and me were talking about this off air. Is the narrative going to change to how do we stop the Warriors? Because right now everyone's on the Warriors bandwagon, but doesn't this turn into, all right, we have to try to stop them? Because that's where it feels like it might go.
Oh, I think so. Because not everybody's on that bandwagon. There's 30 other teams in the association, one of them the San Antonio Spurs, who know a little bit about winning world championships. So, yeah, it's going to be how do we stop these guys, and you've got to build to stop these guys. If not, you're not going to get to where they are, and everybody wants to be where they are right now.
Tell me about the Spurs. What makes them so dangerous? Because they're not getting any love right now.
Yeah, they certainly are. You know, this is a team last night that didn't have Kawhi Leonard, didn't have Tim Duncan. No problem. They still won by 51 points last night.
Oh.
So, yeah. So, and they've only lost 4 games this year. So they're only 4 games behind the Warriors. And, yeah, they're flying right under the radar, just the way Greg Popovich and company want it. But I'll tell you what, you better take that team extra seriously. They were the hottest team going into the playoffs last year, one of the hottest teams, and poised to make another run at the championship. They just fell really short to a tough L.A. Clippers team in that first round. Had they got out of that first round, I think we would have seen an extra competitive Western Conference Finals last year. So as long as the Spurs don't flame out in the first round this year, they're going to be a serious force to be dealt with, and can't wait to see how it plays out.
Yeah, you're right. Spurs are 18-4. Like, they're on a mark to maybe win 65 games, but they're just chopped liver towards the Warriors. But you think the Warriors, they're going to have their hands full tonight, right, with the Indiana Pacers?
I do. I know I said this 11 games ago, but I'm going to say it again here tonight. They're at Indianapolis, an upcoming Indiana Pacers team with a resurgent Paul George. We're seeing a Paul George that would probably be about third or fourth if the MVP voting were today. So he's no chopped liver. And then you couple that with Monte Ellis, who is a former member of the Golden State Warriors. I expect to see his A game tonight in Indianapolis. And C.J. Miles, who's putting up great numbers for the Pacers. So I look for an extra competitive game tonight in Indianapolis. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Warriors suffer their first loss tonight. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised to see them win by 20. So it's going to be fun to see what happens tonight in Indianapolis.
We're here with my good friend Chris Pirtle, Ultimate NBA Insider on the Club 52 hotline. Cavs, first place, 13-7 overall in the East. Pacers, then the Heat at 12-7. Do you like this Heat team so far? Because they're 10-4 at home, and I know they added some parts. What's your take on this Miami Heat team?
Oh, very impressive. You know, they're 14 games into the season, and Dwayne Wade has only missed 1 game. So that's a huge storyline, I think, if you're a Miami Heat fan. But as we've talked about before, this is a team with a boatload of talent. You've got Dragic and Wade in the backcourt. You've got Bosh and Whiteside up front. those are 4 potential All-Stars. If they continue to play like they are now, they will be All-Stars come the All-Star break. So not many teams can say they have 4 All-Stars on their team. So I look for the Heat to go deep into the playoffs, provided they can stay healthy. That's the key with that team. But if they do, they are going to make some noise in the playoffs.
All right. What about the team here in Central Florida, the Orlando Magic? 11-9. They're going to be on the road tonight. Had a 5-game winning streak snapped on Saturday night. What's your take on the Magic, man? Because this is the most competitive they've been in about 5 years, it feels like.
Oh, yeah, and I like seeing it happen, too. The other night in Los Angeles, they almost won that game. That would have given them a 6-game winning streak. And I think I was about 12 years old the last time that happened. So it's good to see. I think one thing about Coach Skiles right now is this is roughly his 13th year in coaching, and we may be getting Coach Skiles in the prime of his coaching career because the job he's doing in Orlando is exceptional. It's scary to think what this team could be achieving right now if they were getting anything from last year's 4th pick in the draft, Aaron Gordon, and this year's 5th pick in the draft, Super Mario. So you factor that in and you say, gosh, Scott Skiles is a candidate for Coach of the Year so far with what he's doing in Orlando. It's impressive.
Playoffs, can we go there? Because I think they should be in the playoffs. Like, there shouldn't be any doubt. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree. I would also say there's a logjam of about 6 or 7 teams that are going to compete for that 7th and 8th spot. So it's going to be extra competitive in the East. We haven't said that in a few years. So that's a welcome sight, seeing the Eastern Conference getting better. It's a welcome sight, seeing the Magic get better. And yeah, they're definitely going to be competitors for a playoff spot. Like I said, it'd be good to get something from the rookie or last year's 4th pick in the draft. That would definitely help cement them into the playoffs.
I love that you text me at night just saying Porzingis. That's all you write. Just Porzingis, Porzingis, Porzingis. This guy's rookie of the year, and superstar potential. We can go there when you look at the Knicks, right?
We can go there, Mark. And after I say what I'm going to say here, I may even go a step further.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Get the tape recorders out because last night, great scene at Madison Square Garden between Dirk Nowitzki, somebody that Porzingis has idolized, and great game, too, by the way. The Mavericks won a close one behind Dirk's 25, but not before Porzingis scored a game-high 28 points last night at the Garden. And had he got a little help from Carmelo and the rest of his teammates, the Knicks may have very easily won that game. So Porzingis not only is he the Rookie of the Year, last night he was the best player on the New York Knicks, and as we continue to go further, he may be the best player on the New York Knicks, and they have a guy named Carmelo on their team that's pretty good, so that's high praise for Porzingis.
So we should never doubt the Zen Master moving forward? Is that what this comes down to?
I'm not going to doubt him anytime soon. I'm completely impressed by Porzingis. I followed the draft closely, Mark, and I thought I followed a lot of these players closely. Well, obviously, Phil Jackson followed him a lot more closer, and Porzingis is impressive. The Knicks fans booed him, as you remember, during the draft, and
yeah.
I was scratching my head, wondering why they didn't take Justice Winslow. Well, here's why they didn't take Justice Winslow. He's not putting up 28 points in a game, and he doesn't have 10 double-doubles like Porzingis does. So this guy's impressive. He's the real deal.
He's polished. Like you look at Towns at Minnesota, it might take him 3 years. I can't believe how polished he is. Isn't that what it comes down to in the end?
Yeah, he's really polished. He does it all on the court, Mark. He blocks shots, he gets steals, he shoots threes, he gets rebounds. This is a beautiful sight. And if they can get a couple other players built around him, it's going to be an excellent show at the Garden every year.
It's a home run. It's a home run. And then Jahlil Okafor, who's getting into fights, and then he's on the worst team in basketball. Maybe Philly. You know what? I'm not going to go there. I think it worked out. I think Porzingis went to the right team. He's in the Garden. I want your take on LeBron now. Signs a lifetime contract with Nike. His team is kind of struggling. He's not happy where they are. Are they still the beast of the East when it comes down to it?
Yeah, I think they are. Some nights I wonder about that. But again, being the beast of the East isn't exactly something you can hang your hat on right now. It's still the Eastern Conference. It still plays second fiddle to the Western Conference. So they are the best team in the East, but they wouldn't come close to beating one of the Western Conference teams if they play them in the finals. I saw LeBron James decided to take the night off the other night in Miami, and the Heat fans were yelling, LeBron James is tired. So he showed them his 2 rings, but those are 2 rings that he would never have had he not gone to Miami. So I really don't know what his point was.
It's okay, man. It's all right. And what about Derrick Rose? Is he still a superstar? What happened to that guy?
Some nights he plays like it, but some nights aren't going to get it done in the NBA. There's 82 games in a year. You got to bring it every night. And so he's certainly not a superstar anymore. But in some respects, so it's good to be able to get any kind of contribution from him, especially if you're the Bulls and you're paying him $22 million a year.
It's a good point. It really is. We go back to the Western Conference, and I'm looking at the standings. We said, it's the Warriors and the Spurs. Should we not count out the Thunder? They're at number 3. They're 12-8. They have Kevin Durant back. Do you like what the Thunder are doing as the third best team in the Western Conference?
Yeah, they're a distant third at this point, but you can't count those guys out, Mark. They are a previous Western Conference championship team, even though they had James Harden that year. But I don't think you can count them out. They have 2 of the top 10 best players in the league. You only need 5 guys on a court at once, so those 2 guys can carry a team. I wouldn't count them out, but I certainly wouldn't make them favorites to win the West. They're going to be in the same class as the Clippers, possibly the Houston Rockets, battling for second fiddle in the Western Conference.
I was going to ask you about Houston because last time I had John, we were talking about them. They fired their coach, Kevin McHale. It appears they have an MVP candidate. Well, he thinks so, and James Harden. Are the Rockets, are they a good team, or is this not a good team that's going to make the playoffs?
Right now, they're not a good team, Mark. They need some help. They fired the coach after they went 4-7. And they haven't done much better since they put J.B. Bickerstaff in charge of the team. So right now they're not a good team. They'll be lucky to make the playoffs if this continues, and they've got to find a way to get Ty Lawson involved in that offense. Ty Lawson was a former All-Star in Denver, and he's now their point guard. They've needed a point guard for the past couple of years. Well, now you've got one, and they've got to find a way to make it work. Until they can do so, they're just going to be another average team, and they're going to be lucky to make the playoffs if they continue to play like they are.
All right, let's just recap. Steph Curry for the MVP, and the Warriors win 80 games. And then they lose. I mean, they beat LeBron in the finals. Is that what's going to happen for the next couple of months?
Yeah, I don't see anything that's going to stop that unless the San Antonio Spurs could knock the Warriors off. And I'd put Draymond Green as runner-up to the MVP.
Unbelievable. His name is Chris Pirtle, Ultimate NBA Insider. Chris, how can they follow you on Twitter?
They can follow me at ChrisPirtle42. They can also visit our website at UltimateNBAInsider.com.
Great stuff. Chris, hopefully, I don't know, should I say you're right that the Warriors win or lose? I don't know. It's going to be a great game. Chris, I'll see you around, and have a nice holidays, all right?
You too, Mark. Good talking with you.